You want to know if you've grown as a person or if you've remained the same and you've stagnated. All you need to do is go back to your hometown, back to all the old people, and see how different you are from them or how much you are still the same. Many of you guys know that I'm originally from Auckland, New Zealand. As you can see, we're actually in Auckland, New Zealand right now for 3 months, visiting family, which is the reason why I'm bringing up this video. Because it's very interesting when you come back to a place that you spent so many years growing up in. And when you do come back, it's like there's a lot that's the same, yet everything feels so different. It's a strange dichotomy of thought to have this observation of everything being similar, yet your experience of these familiar environments is very different. And part of it is your subjective lens, that which you're viewing the world. You know, if you have grown up your whole life with a set of limiting beliefs about what's possible for you, about, you know, you're stupid, or you'll never be successful, or you'll never be in shape, and you're around a bunch of people that are never in shape and not successful and broke. And then all of a sudden, you uproot your life and you go somewhere else, and you're around a bunch of amazing athletic people or highly successful people. Eventually you'll become one of them if you put in the work. And then when you go back to the old stomping ground, things might still be the same, yet everything feels so different. And that's what I've been experiencing. Now, it's not to say that I'm better than anyone else. It's not to say that, you know, my growth is the right growth for everyone. But it is to say that when you're away, or when you work on yourself for such a long period of time, and then you come back to an old environment and you see it all so differently, that's when you know you've truly changed. Like if you hang out with old people and you talk to old people and you have those old conversations and they don't fulfill you like they used to, or you notice things about your old surroundings that seem to be different. Maybe you come back to your place of birth and everything's sort of in a state of degradation. You know, your parents are getting older, your family's getting older, the houses they live in are getting older. You know, it's like the universe trends towards chaos, and over time things tend to degrade. And we'll all go through that in our life. You know, we hit a certain point in our life where our body will degrade. But I truly feel like keeping your soul, your spirit, your mind from degrading is another thing entirely. And it's sort of a somber nostalgia in coming back to a place that you're from. When you see the degradation, the sort of decay of the nature of things. But it makes me appreciative because I can see that, and I'm very, very aware of that. It is often an indicator to you that you're growing. It's often an indicator to you that you have grown. And so if you come back to where you're from and everything feels the same and nothing's changed, and you know you just kind of fit straight back into the mold, I'd propose to you that you've probably just been stagnating. You've probably been dog paddling through life, treading water, not really pushing the boundaries of your own life. You want to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You want to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. When I left Auckland, New Zealand to come to the US to meet Lauren, my wife, for the first time, I was still dealing with a lot of anxiety. I'd had severe social anxiety for 10 years, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, ADHD. I was on Ritalin, benzodiazepines like Valium, and lithium carbonate, and Prozac for depression, and then bipolar. And I was on those medications for 10 years. 10 years, heavily medicated. And now I've been medication free for about 12. Most people never break free of those chains. Most people. I'm a rare individual to have removed myself from that psychiatric medicated system. So when I tell you some of the things that I think are useful, maybe you should pay attention, because these are things that I do think have a lot of weight and a lot of merit. And obviously, it's why I'm such a huge proponent of getting yourself dialed in and getting yourself wired tight. Because if you are eating like shit, you're drinking, you're medicating, you're self-soothing, you're not in shape, you're not looking after yourself, you're staying up all night, all this type of bullshit, you are going to be driving up the inflammation in your body and brain tremendously. And that's what essentially anxiety and depression is. It's brain inflammation. And so a lot of the things that I do and teach, whether it be extensive blood work, hair mineral analysis, food sensitivity testing, creating superhuman nutritional supplementation protocols to upgrade you, it's because this is the stuff that fixed me. This is the stuff that healed my psychology. And then obviously when I healed my internal self, the physical stuff was a byproduct. You got to remember that the physical stuff is a byproduct, and that's why I've never gone back. So the point is that when you are wondering if you've changed, go travel for a bit. Leave the place that you're from and give it time, and get around people that think differently. That's one of the things I always say, is that whatever results that you want in this life, you must get in proximity and surround yourself with people who have said result. People who have the exact result that you aspire to create in your life. So if you want to have better health, fitness, vitality, you need to get around people that are in great shape and sustain it. They don't just yo-yo diet and they get in great shape sometimes and they lose it. You need to be around people that sustain it. If you want to have more financial success and freedom, you need to get around people that have financial success and freedom. And sometimes that means paying to get in proximity to them. And that's always a leap, because it's very, very easy to say, I can't afford that. Maybe next year. And we tell ourselves a bunch of bullshit stories as to why we can't change. And so we just dog paddle through life. And that's when you know you're stuck, because you come back to the place you're from and you're exactly the same. I am, and in many ways, and I've actually had this confirmed to me by people in my family, that I'm completely different at this point. 11 years in, I've been in America for 11 years, now a US citizen as well, and we live in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, and I love that place, man. I love it. And I've had a lot of people tell me how different I am. And it's not, again, not to brag, it's just a statement, because I know I've put in the work. I know I've put in the daily grind, the daily work for years. And you might think to yourself, man, is it going to take me years to create this? No. It starts with a single thought. It starts with a single choice. All you do is focus on today. Right now, today. You don't think about tomorrow. You don't think about next week. You don't think about next month. You don't think about 2025 or 2026. You think about right now, today. What is the next best step? What is the next best action that I can take right now to get myself course corrected, walking a different path? So when I do come back to my place of birth, wherever I'm from, things are the same, but I see the world completely differently. Completely differently. So I'm curious. Some of you guys who have traveled, who have left your hometown and gone back, and you've worked on yourself, I'm sure that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you guys, it'll be over your head because you just haven't walked it. But for those of you guys who have, let me know your experience. I'm curious to hear your take on the whole perspective of how you can go back to a certain place and everything is the same, yet your view of the world is so different, and how that transfers over into results in your own life. So I'm curious. Let me know if you understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't, maybe this is your sign today, that you've been dog paddling through life and that you need to go somewhere and immerse yourself around other people to get a different type of result and outcome. So when you do go back, you have a completely different perspective, and it lets you know how much you've grown.